What? Just welcome to YouTube, right? Welcome to YouTube. Hey, we got it working. No guarantee on how long this my camera lasts before it goes out. Discovered I have a USB plug-in that's shorted out, so that's always fun. But look who we have here tonight, the beautiful, wonderful Caitlin Comments. How are you doing, Caitlin?
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. It's been a long
Oh,
Monday, but this is just what I needed to finish the day off.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Do you have anything exciting? Any exciting news today or anything?
um, no.
No.
Oh,
I have a
the
story about
one
chicken.
thing.
Yeah.
Mm, uh, never mind.
It's so stupid.
Tell
So
me about your chicken.
okay, so I went and got some barbecue for lunch, and I took the
Mhm.
dogs, and they were the lady at the barbecue place was like, "Oh my gosh, I just love your puppy." Blah, blah, blah. It did that whole thing, and then I was like, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is brown dog and blue dog," and of course, brown dog he learned from me when he was a little puppy. I said, "Listen, buddy, here's what you got to do. We're gonna go to this place called Chick-fil-A a lot, and there's gonna be some other places too. It's like all you gotta do is just keep wagging that tail and kissing up to the ladies." And so he does. And oh my gosh, they got like a half breast of chicken each. They were so excited. So yeah, that's my chicken story.
Aren't they supposed to be on a diet?
So anyway, Boomer, how are you doing? Two awesome dogs. What's going on? Wicked Wookie. Bad Duck. How are you? Oh hey, two awesome dogs. Made it to the post office. Almost forgot, but did make it. And White Rabbit has it in a safe location for tomorrow. Um, Two awesome dogs sent us something, and so that's the whole thing. Debbie Morin, how are you? Miami Spice and everything not so nice. You know what she did? She tried to trick me today. She asked me if I knew about houseboats, and I was like, "You mean like when you live in one, like in your driveway?" And she was like, she just replied back laughing. It was like, "That's never mind." I was like, "I don't know what she's talking about. Houseboats." You ever had that friend that like lived in a boat in your driveway?
No.
I think you and I have lived very different lives. Um, Don Manon, how are you doing? Sylvia Cox, just done the soulless ginger. Uh, Fever 2. Let's see here. What am I doing? I don't even know anymore. Dean Robertson, what's up? Grandkids Taxi. Uh, Linda Lazier. I think I'm saying that wrong. I think I say her name wrong. I think I say everybody's name wrong. Diana G, how are you? I love that avatar of her. She looks like she's having time of her life. Stacy Schmidt, our rock and roll girl out in California. Michelle Smuck. Did someone order a smuckening?
That's so funny. I was going to say we have a Schmidt and a Schmuck. No, Smuck. I'm sorry. That didn't come out right.
Yeah,
It blended together. Don't mind me. I'm pregnant.
She is. She is. Or she's really fat. It's one of the two. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know.
It's going to be a long night.
No, but this is great. This is broadcast journalism at its finest. Lady Tammy, how are you doing? Hey, how do you pronounce this, Caitlin? How do you pronounce her name?
Cat shit?
I think so. I think so. How
Like
you
catch
doing,
it,
Cat?
catch it.
Wait, hold on. Stop listening.
Magnificent.
Did you hear that? I don't know
I
how
heard
that became
magnificent.
the Amazon talkie box thing, but anyway, it did.
Oh.
Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. I like saying that. I
Ooh.
just do like saying that. Ella Pate Carre. I mess it up again. Every time I mess it up. She
Ella
tells me that
Pate?
too. Yeah, I think so. Ella Pate. That's the pate.
Yeah, I don't
Heidi
think it's
Prost, how
there's
you
not an
doing?
accent over the E.
Well, you know what? I like to add accents. Memento Mori. Hey, by the way, are you by any chance a chick with a tattoo on your back? Because Volstorm and I, we were standing in a store, and there's a chick in front of us, and her tattoo said Memento Mori. And I thought,
Ooh.
actually, he was like, "Hey, if that's you two, Memento Mori, maybe we need to talk." I was like, I don't know about that, but anyway, I just wondered maybe. And Maggie's Best, how are you doing for the Pappy Snack Fun? For the Pappy Snack Fun, I believe it's called Puppy. That's Puppy. And let me tell you what, the puppies appreciate you, Maggie Best. I still love your avatar. It
He's
is
such a cute puppy.
just absolutely precious. But you know what, Maggie, have you heard the latest about the puppies?
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
They're on a diet. So
I
they
mean,
like,
supposedly they did each get a half a chicken breast today.
well, they like to go for rides with Dad.
Does the white rabbit know about the half chicken breast when she feeds them their dinner?
Why are we talking about her? She's not here. It's not her channel. There's a channel over there. She can stream on her channel. We're not talking about that. We don't. No, we're not talking about that here. Hell 9000. What is going on? What do you want to know about boats?
Boats?
I don't know. Miami Spice wanted to know all about it. Hal, Hal is a Navy dude. Train people on how to do Navy things.
Oh, that's who I should ask about all the things I get wrong about the Navy.
Ooh, that might be good. Hal, Caitlin has questions about aircraft carriers. So, Nurse Titi, how are you doing? T for 2, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much for your gifted membership. Go to the members channel thing, and there's a link in there, an updated link for Discord, and come and hang out, hang out in the chat, make some friends, have a good time. Pants are never a good thing anywhere. So remember that. I don't know. That was weird. I thought I had something better would come out of my mouth, but it just stopped at pants. So,
I honestly thought you were going to say pants were optional.
yeah, I think I wanted to. But I just it fell. You saw the word just fall out of my mouth, right? I was like, I don't know what's happening. Diana G, what's going on? Fawn Mayo, how are you? So we have redheads who always are collecting around here. Just, every time the stream starts, I get kicked over to MG Law's stream, but MG Law isn't streaming. Why is that? That's weird. I'll link to him for later, but I don't know what we'll be doing when we end. I don't know if he's on or not by then. He's got young tug stuff, something thug. I don't know. Philip Kraft, how are you doing? Kimberly Ray, what's happening? You can tell I like saying hi to everybody. Look who is trouble in the making.
Hi.
Rosalind Duke. How you doing, babe? What you up to? Rosalind
Rocking
is
and rolling with all that tonsil twin stuff.
Yeah, she was there for that. Can you believe that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should ask her to come on and talk about it. What made you go out there and see it and everything? GCon7, how are you doing? Melody Couture, how are you? Melody's playing darts right there. We thought for a long. The inside thing was it was a pole, but no, it's not. She's playing darts. So anyway, I think I'm caught up. Sorry about that. Anyway. 2 awesome dogs. I will have to look tomorrow if I get out. I'm supposed to do something. Anyway, Caitlin, you can tell I'm excited to see people. I like the chat. I love saying hi to them. It's funny. It's a thing.
You're a
Hey,
very
Betsy
personable
Weingartner.
person.
Yeah, I know. My mom always hoped that I'd go home with somebody, but I didn't. Nobody wanted to take me home. The first person that took me home, I married her. So
That's smart on your part.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Don't risk not having another one take you home.
No, man. No. I dude, let me tell you what, you're gonna go up to bat. You got one chance at you're up to plate in the major leagues. You better swing for a home run that first time you're up to bat. I did. Levy, what's happening? Anyway, what were we saying earlier? How'd the chicken cross the road? The eternal question.
How?
Let's
On two little feet, weird chicken feet.
do chickens have fingers?
No.
I don't know. Hey, Craps with Nightingale. How are you doing? Anyway, guys. So Caitlin is I'm so happy to have you on. I've been wanting to get you back for a while. Those of you that don't know, Caitlin, it's been over a year now, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And
Like
we'd
the
occasionally
fastest year ever.
Oh, I froze.
no.
I froze.
Quick, do that
What
thing that
is-
made it fixed last time.
I don't know. It makes
No,
it
not
fix.
that thing.
Look at that. That's all messed up.
That's not messed up.
It's on my end. It's like all messy.
It looks fine to me.
All right, hang on. Are we back?
No.
Can you hear me though?
Yes.
Huh? That's good.
That's actually-
Hey.
I was gonna say screenshot that pause because it was a really good freeze frame of you.
I'm gonna have to freeze. I don't know what I'm gonna have to do. Anyway, when we first met, we did several streams, right? We did a few one-on-ones. And then but of course we've always had parties whenever we've been around. And it's nice. Caitlin has, golly, you've had a heck of a year. I hate to think about it's been a big year for you, and it's been an awesome year, I think. And now she is I was like, oh, hey, I want to get back together. Like we saw each other. So we saw each other for Friday Night Live at Dollywood, which, by the way, that's how I discovered all about my USB port. Like, like my phone wasn't charging the other night and stuff. I was having problems. I was like, well, I discovered what my USB port is broken, trying to get the rest of the Dollywood footage uploaded to the computer. So anyway, unfortunately, we only hung out the night of the show, and but it was awesome to finally meet you. And we've been talking. I was like, I want to get back and do some stuff, and she's been very busy. And today she hit me up, and it's just like this. It all worked out. I'm very thankful. And the funniest thing about the whole deal is Caitlin can put into a nutshell everything you've ever wondered about Karen Reed.
Oh no. I don't know if I can concisely put it in a nutshell. I could probably ramble on for a while though.
That is all we do. That is all we do. So oh wait, hold on a second. Real quick, I gotta hit this. Lady Tammy has fired the shots. Thank you so much, Lady Tammy. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be a I gotta figure out what's going on. I've got to figure out what's going on. So yay for me. Yay for me. But thank you so much, Lady Tammy. Do what?
You probably just need to update something.
That's what I was kind of hoping at first. I was like, surely there's not um uh it surely didn't just break, right? But anyway, so look, we're already getting hit up. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I just see it right here. Diana G says, tell us everything you think about Karen Reed and why she's innocent. Now,
Hmm,
not everybody evidently feels that way. I don't
hmm.
know anything. I try to troll Baker and Valhalla because they're both, excuse me. As you know, every YouTuber is streaming the Karen Reed trial. And so I started joking around and said, I'm going to start streaming it because everybody else is, which I'm like, I'm not going to do that. There's no way I've done that. And anyway, uh, the expert would perform better than the state's crash expert. The sky's the limit. I heard about that today, and I don't even know about that. I've been watching some videos and stuff. It seems that everything's weird under a microscope. And so, what do you go for it, Caitlin? What's got you on this whole case? Why are
So
you
here's the thing.
watching it to begin with?
Um, I'm watching it. Well, I started watching it not knowing anything about really the story. I didn't know anything about like the extracurricular drama that has gone on with it. Um, some of my favorite YouTubers have been covering it, so I said, "Well, I'll watch it. I've got nothing better to listen to all day every day except for court cases streaming in my ear." So let's give it a shot. I have no idea if she's innocent. I don't know if she did it. What I do know is the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has shown me nothing that I consider like real evidence that she might have. If the if if what you're looking for is beyond a reasonable doubt, I've got a lot of reasonable doubt. And if she did do this, it's tragic that John O'Keefe's family, like him and his family deserve so much better. And that's what's got me most riled up about it at this point. Is like this is a Boston police officer. He took his niece and nephew into his home and is raising them because both of their parents tragically died while they were really young.
Oh
Like
gosh, I didn't even realize that.
this is a really good guy. And he is now dead.
Oh, I was gonna say, speak of really good guys, but he said, and now he's getting dead. But Zach, look at this. Hey, Actor Michigan's weekend. Can't say now. I'll be back later. Wait a second. Who knew that Zach had a face? Look at this avatar. Did you buy that avatar, Zach? Dude, man, like you do stuff like that, you're gonna start getting your own cult following. By the way, Zach is in charge of the fishing picture thing. That might be a bad thing. I just realized. Maybe not. I don't know. In the Discord. So you go ask Zach to see pictures on his boat. Thank you, Zach. And hey,
His
DJ Russ.
houseboat.
I don't know. I'm learning about houseboats. How 9000's got to help out Miami. Yeah,
Do you
she's
really
trolling me.
not know that there are boats with like roofs and like bedrooms underneath and like you can like actually live on a boat?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I had a friend that lived in the driveway. Rosalind Duke is raising an army of redheads.
Bring him over.
Yeah, yeah.
Join
I'm
the
like,
ranks.
hello. Yeah. Have you seen this place? Okay, so um John O'Keefe, so I didn't know he was raising his niece and nephew. Um
Hmm.
okay, so let's just fast forward real quick. The things I want to know, and I'll let you talk. But one of the things I want to know is like, why are they saying that she did this? They're saying Karen did this. What's the Commonwealth? What's their argument for that?
So within the first 2 days, their main witness, who didn't actually see what happened, but she was in the house where the incident happened out front of, um, she claims that Karen told her, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. And that basically she has propelled this entire investigation forward. The detectives working the case, within 16 hours, one of the investigators was texting his high school buddies saying, "We've got this wrapped up. It's this chick. It's the girlfriend. She reversed into him and ran away." Within 16. And all he's done is talk to a couple of witnesses. No tests have been run. No DNA has been tested. They have not even found all the piece of the crashed or smashed taillight. There's a lot of moving pieces here, but what I have gathered is it all kind of surrounds the testimony of this one witness, Jen, who basically puts all the blame on Karen.
Well, like I'm watching the chat here, and it's like, okay, so let's see here. Boomer is saying they weren't able to get him outside to blame it on the snowplow, and Wham blame Karen. Eileen, they thought she would take a plea, didn't realize she had money. And Officer Proctor, official Karen Reed trial womanizer, came for the nudes.
So that is Officer Proctor is the one who was texting his high school buddies. He also texted his the coworkers on the force while he was going through her phone. Haven't found nudes yet. And this is to his buddies, and I believe his chain of command was also in this text thread. I could be wrong on that, but he is the case investigator. They don't call it the lead investigator, apparently, only in this trial, because you wouldn't want to put all your chips in a lead investigator who has been biased, disgusting, and just, I mean, really, he is probably the grossest human being I've ever had to listen to in my life.
Okay, so I'm already. I've already realized you sucked me in. Okay, so now I'm paying attention. I'm like, I've realized I'm already fringing. Like, I don't know. I've got to. I have a couple of questions, and then I'll need to correlate a line because I think that's a lot of the problem here. Is there's so much information, and people get so excited. It's like popcorn kernels going off. It's like Eileen here says she didn't say Karen said I hit him until after the federal grand jury, months and months later.
Not one of the first responders who supposedly also heard this when they when they wound up at Brian Albert's house that morning with John O'Keefe on the lawn, he had not been pronounced deceased yet. They tried life-saving measures. They brought him to the hospital, worked on him for a couple of hours, and decided that he couldn't be brought back. Supposedly, she said this to one of the first responders that was there. Not a single one of these first responders has put this key information into any of their reports. And you would think that in the death of a police officer or death of anybody, that if somebody is on the scene going, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, you're like, oh, jot that down, make sure we have that noted for future reference, right? Because that seems like a really big piece of information. Not one person has it in their notes. Everybody at the first grand jury testified differently to how they're testifying in this actual trial. It's nuts.
Okay, let me paint I'm a dummy. So let me paint with numbers. And I like using watercolors too. So Karen's dating John. And they go out to a bar and stuff like that. Typical Friday night, right? Was it Friday night?
It was.
See, if they'd been home watching Friday Night Live, none of this would have happened. Friday Night Live saves lives. So they went out Friday night, and then I understand that Karen left him. He's like, I guess, like, whatever it is, like, I'm gonna go with my friends. I want to go with my friends, and we're gonna, like, play dark, shoot pool, do drugs. I don't know. It's just whatever it is. She just want to go hang out over there. She drops him off, correct?
Mhm.
And then she goes home.
To
When
his
do
house.
they find O'Keefe? When do they find him?
So she drops him off roughly somewhere between 12:30 and like 12:20 and 12:35.
Mhm.
There's nobody that has an actual time that she has dropped him off. Her phone, her car, none of the devices that are like really technologically sound could have the information pulled to give us specifics. Apparently, not one house on the street has Ring video that would show when she actually dropped him off or the accident that they are suggesting happened. She wakes up sometime in the morning, realizes he hasn't come home, which she panics about because his niece and nephew are there. She
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be spending the night. She was going to be going back to her house that night.
Mhm.
She was waiting for him to get home so that she could leave, is what I've kind of gathered. She wakes up. He's not there. He's not answering her text or her phone calls. This is about 5 o'clock in the morning. They find, so she drives over and meets up with Jen, and then Carrie gets involved, and they all wind up in front of Brian Albert's house at 6-ish a.m., which is when they find John O'Keefe.
And so who all is there when they find John?
Jen McCabe, which is
Right.
one of the people who was at the Waterfall bar the night before,
Okay.
and was also at the Albert's house that
Okay.
night. And then Carrie Roberts, who was not with them at the Waterfall, but is one of John's best friends, is not one of Karen's friends.
Okay. So those two found John O'Keefe?
With Karen. So Karen wakes
Okay.
up, she's freaking out. She drives to Jen McCabe's house. She picks up Jen McCabe. Somehow Carrie Roberts drives there for some reason, and then they all go back to John's house to check the house to see if John is there. Like,
Yeah.
somebody says that maybe he passed out behind the couch and you didn't see him. Yeah. And then Jen McCabe goes, or Karen says, I think I left him at the waterfall. Because she was drinking. I mean, we don't have solid proof of how much
So
or
Karen says she left him at the bar?
She thought she left him at the bar, supposedly. This is what
But
Jen
she also
McCabe said.
says, okay.
Then Jen McCabe says, no, you didn't. I saw you drop him off at Brian Albert's house. So she's the one who suggests that they go back to Brian Albert's house to see if he's outside there. When they pull up, Karen is in the back seat of the car. Carrie's driving. Jen is in the front passenger seat. Carrie drives past the fire hydrant and the flagpole. Karen sees him and basically jumps out of the moving car to go see if he's alive. And Carrie and Jen are like, we didn't see anything. We don't know how she saw him. She could have only known he was there if she's the one who left him there.
Okay.
But she's in the back seat, desperately searching for this dude.
Okay, so that's okay. So, that puts her back at the scene. Then they call in the authorities. The authorities do everything, and fast forward to where we are today. So the next thing is, hey T-Rex, how you doing, bud?
You're frozen again.
Oh man, that's so weird.
It's only when you're talking too.
Yeah, there's something.
No, do the other thing.
I'm gonna switch you over.
No, don't do that.
There we go.
There you are.
There we are. Okay, so when do they arrest Karen?
Okay, so and I might get this wrong because technically they charge her twice. The first time they charge her, it's with like unintentional hit and run sort of accident. And then June 9th, I believe is the day. In June they had another grand jury. the grand jury comes back with intentional homicide, operating while intoxicated, and leaving the scene of a homicide. So they indict her twice, they charge her twice. I don't know when the first time was. The second time was in June, I believe, of the same year, 2022.
You just froze on my end for a
Oh
second.
no.
Sorry.
I
Yeah,
can
I think I have a ghost, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so one of the things she was charged with was driving while intoxicated.
Mhm.
See, that's what gets me. That's the one that I've always said will be the one that comes back and gets her. And that's one I always think that the jury will imply that everything else, even though as crazy it sounds and everything else, as manifested itself. But anyway, okay, so is there so we said all okay, you said they arrested her. Is there a probable cause for her running over? Is the arrest, is she charged with intentional
Not the first time.
manslaughter?
The second
Not
time.
the first.
She's in
Oh,
charge.
she was the second time intentional.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yes.
why is it intentional? What's the
So what
money
I
there?
can kind of gather is what they have decided is they spoke to a couple of people who went to Aruba with them about a month prior to the accident, where she gets mad at him for supposedly kissing somebody. Doesn't sound like he actually kissed somebody. She gets mad at him, whatever. So now they're like, oh, she's mad at him. There's a couple text messages where they're like, this isn't going really well. We're just fighting a lot. And these came out today where it just sounds like maybe their relationship has run the course. And then they also had the testimony of a guy who did some tests in her Lexus to prove that the backup camera was working. And they put
Was
a dummy
working?
behind the backup. Yep, they put a dummy behind
Yeah.
the backup camera and said she should have been able to see him. That makes it intentional, is what I feel like has brought it to the next level.
Okay. So, but so for like, I'm trying to think. Like for me, I'm thinking that it's the who done or the why done it is that they were having uh, a lover's spat or whatever. Like you said, the relationship ran its course.
Mhm.
Um. Now,
Everybody
okay.
at the bar that night said that everybody was having a great time, that Karen and John were very lovey-dovey. The videos from both bars, they're hanging all over each other. They're being very cutesy. I mean, they're having what looks like a fun time. And then supposedly, nobody can verify this because nobody was in the car with them. Supposedly, when they pull up to the Alberts' house, they had a fight. And that's why she didn't want to go in with him. It's now come out that she has some pretty major digestive system problems, like health problems. And that she said her stomach was hurting that night. And so she probably just wanted to go home because she has Crohn's. I think she has had a colectomy.
Mhm.
She has MS, which isn't a digestive problem, but she just has a myriad of health problems. And I guess she had like 10 plus surgeries at one point in time to try to fix her digestive issues. And they were not, I don't think, fixed at all. But like almost died because of it. And
Gosh.
so there's a chance that she just wanted to go home. I mean, it was
Yeah.
after midnight.
Well, I mean, that happens. I mean, look, it's like Friday, it's my wife's like, White Rabbit. She's like, all right, guys, I'm going to bed. I'm out of here. And
Right.
that's how it is. There's been lots of times she's like, go hang out with your friends. I'm going to bed, or I don't want to. It's so that, so, is there anything that shows him at their house, at the house?
The investigators never went inside the house. They they stepped in the house the morning of to interview like 3 or 4 people, who all sat at the same table at the same time during the interview. The owner of the house is another Boston police officer.
Yeah, everybody's a Boston cop in this.
So
again, guys,
then,
I
of
know
course,
nothing that's
like,
happening on the Karen Reed case. Like, Caitlin she wants to do this, and that's why I was like, okay, that's cool. This should be fun. I know nothing. I've not watched anything of it. I hear the Broken Baker. I'm like, why is he still talking? Like, I thought I was having
to be fair, I
mental
thought you were
issues.
serious when you tweeted that thing today, and now I
What
feel
was
like
it?
an idiot for being like, if you want to know, I'll fill you in.
Which one did I tweet? I tweeted
Oh,
last
I'm
night.
gonna start covering the Karen Reed trial. I was like, oh, okay, I can help, like, give you some
Oh
information.
no, I was totally joking about that. No, I'm just glad you said it because I was like, hey, I think it'd be cool. No, like, you know me. I mean, come on, you know me long enough. I'm like, hey, this is a good idea. Let's run with it. So because I don't know anybody else who's done this. That's what I was when you came in for the show. I was like, I was looking at Karen Reed stuff. I had no idea. So have they said anything about it? How do they think that John got behind the car?
So they're the
Hold on, wait. First of all,
trooper.
is this a dead end street that we're going up? Like,
No.
is the house on a hill? Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's a hill. I think it's a pretty flat area. There is a curve to it. There's been some really bad pictures taken of the property, to be completely honest. Like, the investigators did not take clear photos of anything. Their investigation very shoddy from the beginning. But no, apparently they had pulled up in front of the house, but like past the front door and the side door, and they kept going down to like the end of the yard where the flagpole. So like if the house is over here and the road is here, there's a flagpole and a fire hydrant here. But the house is over here, and supposedly she pulled up over here and let him out of the car there.
And then he decides to walk behind the car.
And then as he's
she's
walking,
like, now's my chance,
standing
sucker.
there, she apparently goes into reverse and just wha-bam him.
In the ice and snow and everything.
Right.
And then takes off and okay. You know, the timeline kind of fits the Brian Koberger timeline.
How so?
It's the same amount of time. It's like, you know, it was so quick. It was happening this little bit of time and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden she's gone some other place. And then, you know, it's like Koberger was back at his place across state line. And then like supposedly the next morning at 6 a.m. he drives back past the house or something around there. And it's like, you know, she comes back, she's looking for the guy. Just, I don't know. I see a lot of similarities. Maybe they know each other. I don't. No, okay.
There's a
I'm sorry.
very good possibility that she was drunk and she, I think, maybe accidentally hit him. If that's a possibility, though, I need some evidence.
Well, I think that people also have a problem with accidents, like blaming somebody for it, because there truly are accidents where you don't mean to do, you know, something awful. Hang on a second. I just looked over a chat real quick. Sorry.
Keep up with chat. They probably have a lot of insight that I'm missing too.
I don't think that here has all these has because not a dead end. They haven't explained why John, when he got out of the car, went to the far corner of the yard rather than the door or the driveway. Maybe he saw a snow angel. I don't know. I guess maybe he did. Too soon. Hey, Aaron, Olivia, how are you doing? Aaron was was the big shocker for me at the Friday Night Live thing. So sorry. Let's see here, but their evidence doesn't even line up with this accident, says Winks. And there's no proof he landed. All right. So This is what you told me is I feel like that's the information to get the arrest, and which once she's arrested, that starts the trial process, right? So what are you seeing now? Like I'm guessing, I'm going to assume that you're seeing it the way like my wife does. And so that's a very dangerous thing to do, is to assume anything. So stop me. But I've heard a lot about how everybody the state brings up seems to sound suspicious.
Mhm.
Is that a true? Why do you think that is?
Okay, and I don't even know that it's suspicious. The first things first, like Canton PD is who would have had it because it happened in the town of Canton. Brian Albert, the homeowner, has a brother named Kevin who's on Canton PD. So they recuse themselves. But then the car is taken to Canton police officer, the Canton PD Sallyport. The evidence is homed at Canton PD. Evidence. Let's talk evidence for a second. The first police officers on scene who are collecting evidence collected blood and snow samples that were found around John O'Keefe and put them into red Solo cups. No lids. They asked a neighbor, do you have something we can put evidence in, who also happens to be a police officer, and he hands them a bag of red Solo cups. They put this blood inside the red Solo cups. They put the red Solo cups inside of a paper Stop and Shop bag, which is like a little grocery store, is what I've come to find out. It's just like a little, but it's a paper Stop and Shop bag. They close it up. They put it in the back of the police car. Not really sure what happens from there, but at one point, the bag of red Solo cups with John O'Keefe's blood in them is in the Sallyport garage within feet of Karen Reed's Lexus.
Now, hold on. Say that again.
The
What'd you
red Solo
say?
cups
Yeah.
with John O'Keefe's blood inside of them is they take a picture of it to move it into evidence. So I don't really know, because they have to document something in this case. The picture is taken inside of the Sallyport where they are storing Karen Reed's car. They are feet away from each other. You can see how close they are together.
So now I'm going to assume.
You are automatically given this, like, why would you do that? Do you not know how to run an investigation? What is happening here? And what is the defense going to say? Cross-contamination. They could have put that blood all over that car.
That's what I was going to say. So are you assuming that the evidence was contaminated?
No, because I don't, and I might have missed it, but I don't think they actually found any of John O'Keefe's blood on the car. What they did find was a hair that maybe matched John O'Keefe, that stayed on a bumper, not embedded in the bumper, but stayed on a bumper throughout the night in a blizzard to her parents' home in Dighton, which is, I think, like 35 miles or something away. And then they tow it back 35 miles back to Canton, again in a blizzard. But the hair stays intact the whole time. There are two pictures of this hair on the back of this car. One of them, it's like this, and the next one, it's like this. And they're like, well, it could have moved by somebody walking by. If it could have moved by somebody walking by, it wouldn't have been on there through a blizzard being towed 70 miles.
All right, hang on 1 second here. So Donna Shepard here's this, because this what you're saying, and this is, I want you to see how my weird brain works. It says no one in the neighborhood heard the sirens, saw the lights from the emergency vehicles, and there are several people in the neighborhood that are cops or paramedics. So that's weird. What's really weird is that has happened in my neighborhood, and I didn't know. people were, anything was happening. I've had the fire department at my house several times, and my neighbors didn't know the fire department showed up at my house. With that, it was really freaky for me the first time. After that, it just got silly. But the first time, I was like, you should know when there's something major happening outside. You would think you would. My experience is that you don't recognize that. So then when you're talking about like the evidence, like that, the hair, for instance, well, maybe it could stick on there. I don't know. It doesn't sound like normal, but it's one of those things where it's like, I don't, I,
I will say this. I agree with you. Oftentimes,
by the way,
and
I
there's
love
a
it. I
lot
can
of
tell she knows
people.
what I'm thinking. I froze. That's awesome.
I'm gonna keep talking while you unfreeze yourself.
Thank you.
There's a lot of people who I think just would see the sirens, or see the lights, hear the sirens, and be like, yeah, I'm gonna stay out of that. Let the first responders, the police officers do their job. I don't need to be involved. I think that's a great way to live your life. However, again, the person's house, you're still frozen, is a Boston police officer. They owned because they rehomed this dog a few months after the incident, a German Shepherd, who has been apparently said to be pretty aggressive with either dogs and maybe some humans. Well, this dog, this German Shepherd, and I don't know if you've ever had a German Shepherd or been around a German Shepherd, but my perception of most German Shepherds, like a lot of dogs, are when somebody's in your yard making lots of noise, they kind of tend to freak out a little bit. And they're like, what's going on? Who is that? What do I need to bite on? Like, you know what I mean? My dogs are little. And if they hear a siren go by, they're howling with it. And we live a good 300 yards from the road. Like, the dog was sleeping in their bedroom. And the Albert family does not walk out of their house when any of the fire trucks, any of the paramedics, or any of the police officers are on scene that morning. They said they didn't wake up to any of that. The police officers on scene collecting evidence that morning, right after John's taken away, are using leaf blowers to blow the top layers of snow off of their evidence.
Yeah,
So
I
there
heard
is
about the leaf
sound,
blowers.
there is lights, there is commotion, and A, your German Shepherd doesn't make a peep, and B, as a police officer, you're not on a little bit of alert all of the time, going, what the hell's going on outside of my house?
Yeah, it's
That is what I was like, that seems fishy to me. It doesn't prove anything, it sounds crazy to me. You didn't wake up at all?
yeah, I don't
You're
know.
still not back.
Yeah, I know. Can you hear me though?
I
Can you
can.
hear me? It's so weird. This is the weirdest thing in the world. I have no idea what's going on right now. It's really driving me nuts. So I apologize for that, guys. Yeah, it's showing that. Hang on. Gosh, this really does upset me. Sorry.
Has your phone been overheating at all?
No,
No.
that's fine. I'm holding it right now. Let's see. What if I do? Well, I tell you what. This just shows what type of a connoisseur for excellence I am here. Yeah.
We
This is
are professionals.
Yeah, 100% professionals here. Let's see. That'll work. Watch this. That works. Hey, how you doing? That's an awful camera. That's a horrible
That
view
looks
too.
like that's better than witness cam from the other day.
Witness cam. What was witness cam?
They pulled down the pool cameras from court TV. They shut it off in the morning because at one point the judge called one of the jurors into sidebar at the very beginning of the morning and didn't let the camera people know that juror was walking in. So the camera had a wide shot of the gallery like it normally does.
There, but now everything else is stopped.
Oh gosh. There it is.
Hello?
You're grainy.
Did I kill the stream? Are you
No,
there?
you're still live.
Can you see me?
Yes, you're just grainy.
That was weird. I unplugged. So
You're
I
a little
unplugged the
delayed.
phone. Yeah, well, I unplugged the phone and it's supposedly working. It's unstable. If you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging into your router. That's weird. I have no idea what's happening.
It's okay. You're just making me look
Okay,
better.
so you're talking about the German Shepherd and everything. Yeah, and German Shepherds. So someone was saying that they thought it was a police dog.
I don't think there's any evidence. It's certainly
No.
none that has come into trial that it was ever a police dog. What we do know is that it was a German Shepherd, that it has attacked a dog before. It also may have bitten the person who tried to get in between the dogs while fighting. And then a few months later, they rehomed the dog to somebody in like Vermont, supposedly.
Okay, so why is that? So I keep hearing that about rehoming the dog. People do that though. Why is that a issue? You think?
Because if you look at the marks on John's arm, which the Commonwealth is stating is from the smashed pieces of tail light, everybody seems to think that it looks like dog bites or claw marks of some sort. And if you up and get rid of your dog who you've had for 6 years, months after a murder investigation where people are trying to say that, hey, maybe the dog had something to do with it, that looks a little suspicious to people. I'm not saying the dog had anything to do with it. It just, when you line up all of these little tiny things, it all starts looking real sketch. Oh.
One, Shizzy's been a member for 15 months. That's crazy. And Valhalla says he believes the dog failed out of police training.
I have no idea. That I do not know.
And Rosen, we all know it's because Karen had the dog bite package on her Lexus. It's a thing. Is she messing with me?
Yes. There's a picture going on Twitter right now of a German Shepherd's head with its teeth being bared, sticking out of a Lexus's taillight.
Gotcha. So now I saw that. So where's the let's see. So where are we right now? I apologize, guys, for the technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on. I thought I had that fixed earlier, and evidently I don't. So it drives me nuts, though. You guys get to see the squirrels get fired in the expert's brain. So the I'm trying to think. So the dog, okay. Okay, so from the dog, like I saw the other day, there was dog bites. Was that a real thing, or is that just going around on Twitter?
A lot of the people who believe Karen Reader is innocent believe that his arm was attacked by a dog because there are puncture wounds on his arm.
Why would that matter?
Because it would prove he went into the house that night.
Can't the dog come out?
I mean, maybe. But if the dog had gotten out front, then so would have, had the dog get back into the house, it would have still assumed that people inside of the house knew what was going on out front. And
That's
they're
right.
all
Yes,
saying
right.
they never saw John. He never came in the house. We don't know what happened to him. We have nothing to do with this.
Okay, big moment for me.
can't-
Okay, that explains it. So the whole thing is that nobody knows anything except for Karen and John is what the state is saying. And Karen did it obviously because she's the only person that was there.
Right.
Is that kind of right?
Yeah, she had to have because nobody in the house ever saw him.
Yeah, Karen was seeing John attacked. Sent you photos of the arm? Hang on a second here.
I suggest you look at the photos and give me your opinion. Tell me if you think that happened from being hit by a tail light while he has a long sleeve shirt on, or if you think those look more like puncture wounds that would happen with a bite.
Is this supposed to be autopsy photos?
Probably. Or in the hospital bed.
Yeah, I think it's hospital bed.
Now, I will say the police, over a year later, took swabs of the shirt he was wearing where the puncture bites were. Supposedly took swabs. They cannot prove that they have swabs of the shirt. They did not send the shirt for testing. They never swabbed his actual arm. They say they took swabs of the shirt and sent it out for dog DNA testing to see if a dog actually bit him. Those tests came back that there was no dog DNA on there. But because of all the sketchiness of everything else the police have done, nobody believes them. It's hard to say that they did what they said they did.
What if I told you that when I see this arm, the first thing that comes to my mind is road rash? I don't think of it as, I don't think that looks like a dog.
He was found on the grass, not in the road.
Did this guy ride motorcycles by any chance?
I don't believe so. Certainly not in January in Massachusetts.
I don't know. I mean, Tom Gillis is from Massachusetts. They do some wild stuff up there.
So
no, I just
if it were road rash, would they have found gravel?
That's what I was. So that was my thing. It
wounds.
looks to me like gravel, is what I'm saying. That's why I don't know though. I mean, this is the first time I've seen it. The first time I really looked at it, I guess I saw it.
Anything. They didn't take samples of anything in his arm. And right now, the theory is that the taillight is what hurt his arm, wouldn't you find like small pieces of taillight plastic in the arm? They find nothing. They don't test anything. They don't present anything as evidence of what could or may have been in the arm. This expert has an associate's degree in administrative justice and 120 hours of crash reconstruction, and says that the arm was sideswiped by the taillight and sent him propelling 30 feet.
Was that the guy today? The guy spoke today?
He started his testimony on Friday of last week and finished cross-examination today.
That's the guy supposedly said, "Oh, God, kill me."
Nope, that's a different guy. That's a different trooper.
Okay, real quick, then let me clear up some things in my head. So, boomers, and I've heard this before. They had found pig DNA.
They were also at a bar. So the theory, I believe, is that because they also found vomit on his shirt. So I think that they probably found the pig DNA when they found the vomit, and it could be from what he ate that night, which there's no testimony of. There's one guy who said he had potato skins, and that might have had bacon on it. But that guy ate them, not anybody else. There's no testimony that John ate them.
Okay.
But they can't tell you where the pig DNA came from. They have no idea. The pig ears, for me, speculation.
Okay, so like, I don't know anything about this, but I have.
My joke is that it was a house full of cops.
Yes, that's what I was getting ready to say. That's what I was getting ready to say. I was like, so if she didn't do it, who did, right? And so I'm like, my brain goes to like some stupid movie I'm sure I've seen in my lifetime, and it seems like that's like something that you would see is like pig DNA is like the mark of like, oh, you were like a bad cop, or I don't know, something like that. That's why I was like, oh, that's kind of funny, but I don't know. I think that's weird. And then of course I'm seeing that they fed the dog pig ears and stuff and all that.
Yeah, that hasn't come into trial, so I don't know.
Yeah, it shouldn't, if it doesn't matter. But I'm looking at this at the arms, and Ruby here. So Ruby is she is an expert on automobiles and medical malpractice stuff, and she sees a lot of these pictures, and she says this is definitely not road rash. And I think that's which is weird that I didn't see dog, but it doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's raccoon. I don't know what that looks like either. But but that's a speculation, right? Because the state is saying that this is proof that he was hit by the car, hit his arm.
Right.
Okay.
They're saying that the damage to his arm was caused by the taillight.
What do you think happened at this point?
I don't know. I don't know that I believe there's a huge conspiracy theory here. I don't know that I believe that, 100 people, including the Canton PD, the Massachusetts State PD, the DA's office, the everybody that was in the house, all these families. I don't know that I believe that they're all in on this big thing to hide that somebody else did it. She could have hit him. I don't believe that arm injury is caused by a taillight. Because I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't It's not glass, it's plastic. I don't Either the taillight was already cracked and shattered a little bit, and then hitting him is what like protruded it into his arm, but I have no evidence that there was any pieces of plastic in his arm. There's no evidence that his blood was on any of these shattered pieces of taillight. Is a likely solution that he was kind of fighting with one of the ATF guys that was there, named Brian Higgins, who's supposed.
Oh, there are ATF agents there?
One ATF agent was there who his main work office happens to be inside of the Canton PD place. So he has a little office that he works out of in the Canton PD. He went out drinking with them. At some point before this, Karen and him were having a little bit of a flirty text message thing going back and forth. And after Aruba, she kissed him. I think she's pissed at John for kissing somebody in Aruba. And she goes, well, I'm going to kiss Brian just to piss you off. And they're just in this really gross relationship at this point. I don't think that means she killed him. I don't think it means Brian killed him. But does it mean that after a night of heavy drinking, that they all end up at this house and then shit maybe comes out and it's an ATF guy and Brian Albert, the homeowner, is a Boston cop who has been a big fighter, like in the ring fighter his whole life. And Colin Albert is this like young kid who talks a big game and is pretty gross out like in his Snapchats, and he's just one of those like wannabe tough guy kids. Is there a chance that like they kind of ganged up on him and maybe beat him up? Sure. I don't have evidence of this either. I don't have any evidence of anything. I don't know what happened because the police did nothing to prove any case. They have zero evidence.
All right, guys. I'm going to go back to this arm real quick. I'm actually going to pull that up. If everybody, so if you don't want to see it, I'm just warning you right now. Okay. Here it goes. So, okay, on this arm, sorry, and I listen to everything you're saying, and we're gonna get back to it. But I'm kind of stuck here, and I thought maybe we could go over this a little bit. Like, it doesn't look for the tailgate of the car. If it's the car I'm thinking of, it's flat right there. It's a flat surface. So that's what one of the things what makes these marks, And so if we're saying it's a dog, what was he wearing? That was
he was wearing
hoodie, right?
an orange t-shirt and a light. I would not even call it a hoodie. It looks pretty thin. It's like a thin long sleeve shirt with a hood. I don't think it's the thickness of a hoodie.
Okay. But here's the thing, though. Like this right here doesn't kill him.
No, what killed him was a 2-inch laceration to the back of his head that probably knocked him unconscious. And then they say that hypothermia is what also helped end his life. Like, he was probably out cold, and then he got too cold, and they couldn't warm him back up.
Did you say they found blood at the scene?
They found blood. So if you look at his shirt and his pants, the blood runs down his shirt. There's some on the back of him, and it runs down his pants. So gravity tells you that blood, because the only places he's bleeding, he has no bruises on the rest of his. And I'll preface this. Supposedly, we have two more people testifying for the prosecution. They're both MEs. They have gone 66 witnesses, 26 days, and have not called the MEs yet. So that's their last people to testify. So we have heard all of this. We don't know what the actual injuries are, except for what people have testified to seeing when he's in the hospital. There's a 2-inch laceration on the back of his head. Both of his eyes are swollen and black. He's got blood coming out of his face. He was not pronounced dead until he was at the hospital around like 1 or 2 o'clock p.m. And then he's got the injuries on his arms. But there's no testimony that he is bruised on the rest of his body. There's no testimony that there's blood anywhere else on the rest of his body. It's all on the face, the head, and the one arm.
So Nurse TT, like, she has a good comment because it kind of brings what I've seen so much in the chat into a very succinct sentence here. He was attacked by a dog. He was struggling with the dog, fell back, hit his head on a hard object, and was knocked unconscious and froze to death. Okay, so that kind of seems like that's kind of, to me, from just casually watching the chat, is seen. And by the way, guys, if you're out there just lurking around, come in, say hi. Hey, please be sure to subscribe because I'm losing everybody, man. It's awesome. Like, this is like rats off a sinking ship over here. But anyway, I want to turn those numbers around. YouTube has a tendency to do that. You got to turn your numbers around or you just keep going down. See? So up and down. It's like the ocean. It's the motion of the ocean. I hear that's a good thing. So he was, what's a dog? Let's say he was playing with the dog. I don't know. Anything it was. He falls over, hits his head, freezes. Somebody has to know the dog's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they have a dog door. I don't know. Whatever it is.
The dog was testified to being in the room at 6 a.m. in the bedroom.
Okay. So how about this? Why then?
And my thought on that is, if your dog has attacked somebody and it's an accident and you're a police officer, why wouldn't you call emergency services to save his fucking life?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to ask. I was going to be like, why? But I have a 2-part thing. One, why make this big, huge thing, this whole story, this whole, we didn't do anything. And it seems like they have to have talk to each other. They had to collaborate together to get get their stories right. Why do that? And then also after that, I mean, whatever the reason is, which I want to know why, but whatever that reason is, how did they have the time to? I mean, that's
so if you're going off the theory that Karen Reed is innocent and that this has something to do with the Albert's dog, this attack happened sometime between 12:30 and 1 a.m. You have these people, and there are mysterious butt dials where people call each other and don't remember calling each other. There is a point in time where Brian Albert
we have a 5-hour period, right? Do we have between like 1 and 6? Okay, so in 5 hours, all this happened. Okay.
So there is between Brian Albert and Brian Higgins, there's a couple of missed phone calls, and then there's a 22-second phone call. This is one of my favorite parts of trial. It's just a funny thing. Brian Higgins on the stand goes, "You can't have a conversation in 22 seconds." A few minutes later, his lawyer has to be introduced because he uses federal resources to like pull things off of his phone. So they're like trying to get him for like using this for personal use, and that's like not okay. So his lawyer comes up and the judge asks him, "Do you want to have a few minutes to talk to your client?" And the lawyer says, "I think we can have this talk in about 10 seconds. Brian Higgins just said on the stand that you can't have a 22-second conversation. I think that's just funny. Like, it has nothing to do with anything else. But he goes, "You can't have a 22-second conversation." And his lawyer goes, "We can have this conversation in 10 seconds. I loved it. I laughed so hard.
Oh my gosh. But so I mean, but I don't know. How do you do that? How does wait and
So
why for this guy? I guess I'm
almost
going too far ahead now. It doesn't matter the why,
it
it just matters that I did.
it's almost all of the people, like there's at least 3 people that were in the house that night that say that they butt dialed people that were also in the house throughout the night.
Mhm.
At one point, Jen, who's a big contribution to all of the reasons why they're targeting Karen, um her phone, and I'm very confused by all of this. I don't have a clear resolution on it yet, but supposedly she made 6 or 7 phone calls to John O'Keefe's phone.
Who did this?
Jen McCabe.
Okay, that was the one that she was at the bar with him that night, right?
Yeah, she's one of the ones
Okay.
that was at the bar, and she was one of the ones that was at the house. In the time that she's making these phone calls that she says she doesn't know happen, they don't leave any voicemail, so she had to have ended the phone calls before it went to his voicemail. She's also texting him from inside the house saying, "Where are you? Are you coming in? Park right there. This. She says she has no idea how these phone calls happened. Brian Albert says there's phone calls on his phone. He says, "I have no idea how those happened. It must have been a butt dial." I believe, and I could be wrong, so chat, help me out here. I believe one of them happened, and he says that he was having sexy time with his wife, and his phone was in the bed, and he accidentally called somebody.
Yeah, he did. So you know
So
what?
everybody has random butt dials. Everybody has, deleted things off their phones.
When you say this about the like calling Jim McCabe called like 6 times and whatnot, you know what it immediately popped in my head was they were looking for for his phone.
So that's one of the theories, because
I bet they're hoping they had Karen Reed nudes in there.
when they find John O'Keefe, his phone is directly under his torso on the lawn.
Do you think
His
that?
shoe
Yeah.
flew like 9 feet. His hat flew feet away from him. His phone that they're saying was in his hand landed underneath him.
I mean, I don't know. Is that what's the point there? I don't understand.
If you're trying to find somebody's phone and you can't hear it because it's laying underneath them, there's a lot of things in there that just have, there's a lot of questions, and every time somebody gets on stand and speaks about anything, you end up with 17 more questions that you didn't have before they got on that stand.
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense. None of it is done. Like, if the police had just run a solid investigation from the start of this, I don't think we'd be having all of this problem. But it sounds like they jumped right into this. Karen did it. She had to have done it because she's not one of us. She's not a part of the family. She's not from around here. She talks funny. None of us liked her. She's a babysitter with benefits. And then it just mm-hmm.
So Boomer, what do you think this means? About the time when Karen was getting home,
She also
Jen
called
started
him like
calling
56 times from that morning, trying like in what the defense says is trying to find him. If you knew you killed somebody, would you call them 56 times and call his family and lead your friends straight to his body and
Karen did
do
that.
all yeah.
Okay. Man, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. So, yeah, okay, let me take emotion out because I realize like I'm deep into this, and this is one of the things this is one of the good things about talking when you have a relationship with somebody like we do, and because I get to we haven't talked about this before, and we're very comfortable talking to each other, and we can do all this stuff, but it's also is that I trust you, and so I feel my emotions following yours, and I guess to kind of step back and think, so what does, I mean, what does all this mean? They're still saying Karen hit him. And I mean, yeah, there's just the only thing that is right now, I feel like maybe I'm missing this. Maybe I missed part of the conversation stuff is that it is I don't know. It just seems there's not another there's not an opposite uh reason, I guess. I don't know. I can't think of the words I want to use. Yes, it looks crazy. It looks suspicious, but why does it look suspicious? That's what I want to say. Why does this look suspicious to us? Are we hunting for that suspicion, or is it really just that blatant and I'm not watching the trial, so I don't see it.
No, I think it's suspicious because so the Canton police officers have to recuse themselves because there's a brother of the homeowner, right? And then they store all of the evidence in Canton. They store the car in Canton. The chief of police in Canton finds pieces of the taillight days later in the Albert's lawn, and he's supposed to be recused. So why is he even out there investigating? Why is he looking for it? Michael Proctor, who's now the lead investigator on this, has known one of the Alberts family for years. Like the Alberts kid was in his sister's wedding when he was a young boy, and he's an older teenager now. So he didn't tell anybody. He didn't tell anybody that he knew the Alberts or that Julie Albert had babysit his sister's kid and had been mentioned to babysit his kids at one point. He didn't tell his higher ups that he had, and like, if you're kicking off Kevin Albert, but he knows the Alberts just as well, why does he get to stay on the case? It that's what feels icky about it, because he's the person leading all of this. He's the person who is sending these disgusting text messages about how she has no ass. She's a see you next Tuesday. She's a bitch. She's got a leaky
Did we cover
balloon
this?
knot.
Did we cover all that?
No, not yet.
Oh,
I was trying not to bring all of the text messages in. He's the one who texted his high school buddies, like, it's definitely her 16 hours into it. And then also texted his, like, chain of command, no nudes yet, when he was searching through her phone. But he is telling people, like, they ask, well, is she hot at least? And he goes, meh, she's got no ass. She's got a funny accent. He literally calls her a see you next Tuesday. And then he tells his sister, I hope she self deletes. And he's just allowed to be on this. So it's, and and I don't even know that it's suspicious is the word I would use. It's icky. It feels icky. Like, who let this guy how does he even have a job still? But B, how is he allowed anywhere near this? If you had removed him completely from the beginning of this, if he had said, hey, I know the Alberts, I can't be interviewing them, I can't be around this, if he had removed himself from this, I think it would feel less icky. But every step of the way, there's something where you're like, what the? That shouldn't be okay.
Let me ask you, do you know anything about Canton?
Not really.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either.
It's a very small town. I know that. It's a very tiny town. It's a very small police department. They don't actually investigate homicides. So that's one of the main reasons, I guess, like they were going to, and then they were like, oh, we can't do that. And they had to bring in the state police, and the state police said we can't do it until he's declared dead, and then it took hours for that to happen, and the whole first couple of hours of this is so just mind-blowing of how bad of a job just everybody did. Like I said, the first people there are using leaf blowers, red Solo cups, and paper grocery bags to collect evidence. If you do it the right way from the beginning, does it feel as icky? Is it as much suspicious as it is just pure fucking incompetence?
Is that how? I mean, I don't know. I mean, okay, I barely remember a little bit of this stuff. It's like, they were, like Canton is it's an affluent area.
Mm-hmm.
It has very high median income, and it's not for the poor's, and it also doesn't have very many murders and whatnot.
Right.
So I don't understand why they don't have a proper chain of evidence, besides Solo cups.
Well, and then they asked the crime scene. They have evidence collection tools. They have the proper, like, whatever dishes that they use. They have all of these things that could have been used. They said that they couldn't waste time going a mile back to the police department to get the right things. So they just went to this cop neighbor's house and got the red Solo cups from him. That is what they were saying, because it was blizzard conditions and they didn't want all of the evidence to get ruined. Well, here's the evidence that may or may not factually be, I don't know. It wasn't really snowing at 12:30. There was no snow on the ground. There's no blood in the grass. John was found on top and underneath a little bit of snow. All of the blood is on snow. So if she hit him at 12:30 when there's not snow on the ground, why is he on top of snow? Why is the blood on top of snow? Snow would preserve most of the evidence, right? It's frozen. The blood's not going to go anywhere. Do it the right damn way. They don't set up a perimeter. They don't put up a tent. They don't cordon off the crime scene. Nothing right happens. It went wrong from second one.
Well, let me ask you this. So like there's always a first cop that shows up, right? The first person on the scene. Those guys, they've been doing it for a long time usually, and they have a intuition about things. Like, is there any cop, have they been interviewed, like what they saw at the scene, what they thought was what had happened?
The initial so I don't think anybody had initial reactions necessarily. Like one of the state troopers who was not the first cop on the scene, he calls the ME and says John O'Keefe might have gotten hit in the face with a cocktail glass, and that's why his eyes look like that. There might have been some sort of domestic thing. Some of them say that it looks like he might have gotten in a fight. I don't think any of them right off the bat go, this was a vehicular accident. But it, like, the first responders have nothing in their reports. And all of their testimony between the first grand jury and now, I mean, the defense keeps saying it, this is not what you testified to in the first grand jury. Your story has changed here. And so it's, I wish this had just been done the right way, because then we would have answers.
Well, if it been done the right way, there'd be nothing to talk about. So, well, let me add. So, what is? I feel pretty good right now. I feel like I have an understanding of what is so passionate and everything else. I want to talk a little bit about the guy today, because that was like evidently a big thing on Twitter. He said, "Oh God, kill me now," or something like that on stand. Who was that guy?
So that's another one of the troopers. He is an expert in some Celebrite and some digital
I've gotten so
forensics.
much name recognition out of this case. It's great. Sorry. It's all about branding.
Like the other prosecution experts, I don't think he has a degree in anything. I don't think he actually has a certificate in any of this. He's just done some training here and there. But basically what happened in that moment is the DA, the ADA, Lally, asked him to start reading some Facebook messages or text messages between the decedent and the defendant. And they're getting ready and they're pulling up these things, and Lally asks a question, and he kind of sits back in his chair and he draws in this really big breath and just goes, and you can hear it in the mic through all of the streams. I know you couldn't hear it in the courtroom because they have problems hearing people all of the time in the courtroom, but this guy does not know that he is mic'd up right there, and you hear it plain as day. Kill me. And you're like, bro, that's how we all feel watching this. We all feel the exact same way. None of us want to be here anymore. I am 26 days into this thing, and if I could quit, I would. Because this is just
that's not 26 days.
stupid.
It's 26 days of trial. I mean, it's over weekends and everything else. I mean, we're up to this has been the longest trial in the history of Massachusetts.
We're at 7 weeks, I think, at this point. 7 or 8
Holy cow.
already.
Every one of the Salem witch trials combined didn't take that long, I mean, this is.
And I think spectral evidence was maybe more useful.
Do I?
I think there's spectral evidence in the Salem witch trials is more useful.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay,
every single one of the prosecutors, experts that have come up and testified. I mean, there's been a couple who have left the stand and either haven't been cross-examined or their cross-examinations were very little, hasn't really affected anything much. But all of these troopers that are going on the stand and getting cross-examined are being obliterated by the defense. It's not even funny. The guy who testified on Friday and then again today, who finished up, I thought he was gonna cry on stand. His voice was shaking. He couldn't speak at all. Anytime the defense asked him a question, his words just got so jumbled up, and I don't know if he was just trying to think faster than he could speak. He couldn't even say, he's trying to say the word definitively to try to come across clear and concise for the jury, right? And he goes, definitively. And you're like, bro, you have 12 years of experience doing this. You've testified more than once, and you are falling apart on the stand. And I feel bad for him because I don't think it's his fault. I don't think this case should have ever gotten to trial. I don't know how they're trying this case with no evidence, nothing to back up their story. It's all wishy-washy bullshit at this point.
Yeah.
If Karen did it, she might very well get away with it. And if she didn't do it, John O'Keefe and his family deserve so much fucking better than that. But the guy on stand who said kill me, I mean, he literally, he did not want to be there. He did not want to be reading
You
these
feel bad
stupid
for him?
text messages. I don't feel bad for this guy. He at least wasn't one of the bald cue ball cops. Like, if you look at a picture of all of the cops that have testified so far, except for this one, they are all bald and have the same face shape. It is eerie. They all look very similar, like carbon
man.
copies cut out. It's like they're
Well,
just
that way you
changing their
can't
tie and
identify
putting the
when
same
they
person.
commit a crime. You can't identify them. I think it's that guy right there. That guy said, "Oh, he was doing kinky stuff with his wife. And his cell phone's ringing." So, what is left for the prosecution?
2 medical examiners, from what I understand.
So that'll be 3 more weeks.
So tomorrow they're doing a full day of voir dire on defense experts, who
Okay.
are people that were brought in by the FBI. So the defense actually doesn't know, except for what their report says, what they might be testifying to. And there was some. Well, the order was that the defense wasn't allowed to talk to these people. They're not allowed to get their expert opinion. They were allowed to talk to them about scheduling their testimonies. And
Is
so
that
when
normal?
it was brought, I don't think so. When it was brought to
See,
the
I
judge's
mean,
attention,
Massachusetts, they do things differently. I mean, I know that. So I mean, it's
so the prosecution had a problem because they didn't get the Rule 14 information from the defense experts. They were missing some sort of documentation, and the defense is like, we don't have this to provide because we were told we can't talk to them. We have their report from the, I believe, federal grand jury investigation, that basically negates what the prosecution's expert says, and they're ready to roll with it. The defense is like, we're good to put them on. And the judge is like, I don't believe you haven't talked to them. That sounds crazy. And it may be crazy, but I don't think they've talked to them. But they can't give the report to the prosecution because they themselves don't have one. So there's going to be a whole day of voir dire tomorrow on these defense experts, which is nuts because all of the prosecution's experts have like 60 hours of training, and that's their expertise. How were these people not voir dired? It just seems funny to me. Wednesday is Juneteenth, so courts are closed. And I believe they're hoping to wrap up on Thursday and give the defense the case on Friday. But with the way Lally asks questions, it'll likely be next Tuesday before the defense gets their case started.
Would you do you know anything about the defense, about what they're going to do, what they're planning on, or anything?
So one of the things that they want to do is they want to introduce a third party culprit, or like a different culprit. They want to blame somebody else, and they want to bring in
That's a
evidence
big
to blame
thing now.
somebody else. I
That's
think
the
they had
deceit of
to.
doubt.
Well, yeah, I think they had to put in some sort of evidence through the prosecution. Like, they had to gather enough evidence through the prosecution's case to where they could put that on. Okay, I thought the Rule 14 was that they had to have the discovery turned over, and that they were missing some sort of discovery. I could be wrong.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I just saw the chat I pulled up. So no.
Yeah.
But
well, I know that they want to like blame Brian Higgins. I know that they want to bring in blame on Colin Albert. They want to try to blame Jen McCabe for something. Basically, they want to say that everybody in the house had something to do with it, and they're all blaming Karen Reed.
So I don't like that third party. The idea that a third person did it. I think that's weak sauce for a defense. It's I mean, it's that to me it's a seed of doubt thing. I mean, it's that works, but it might work. But I mean, if you have a good defense, you have a good defense.
Here's my thing. And I personally believe, and this could change with what the ME says, the ME could come out and say this is very consistent with a car accident. And that could change my mind and sway me. I don't think the defense should have to prove anything because the prosecution has proved nothing. There is so much reasonable doubt already that if this were me, I'd be like, jurors, you've seen it. You tell me, like, let's give the case to the jury. The defense has no obligation to put on a defense. And if the prosecution's done nothing to prove their case, why should they? They've already put all of this money into it, so they're going to. And I think that they have I don't think it's dumb. I think having reasonable doubt placed on Karen by introducing somebody else is what a lot of cases do. I mean, and if there's enough smoke, why shouldn't they be able to use it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, here's I would I would love it. I mean, just the defense up there. It's like, I mean, there's no case here. I mean, what am I supposed to do? These guys, how do you go against anything they said? Because it just all I have to do is just replay it. It's there's no way a reasonably prudent person would think that any of this is logical and makes sense on for a beyond a reasonable doubt murder of somebody here. And I don't know. It's just oh, my camera just messed up, flipped again.
You're good.
Sorry.
You're back.
Okay. I don't know what's doing. Oh, there. Well, I don't know.
You are so glitchy.
I have no idea. I've got to figure out what's happening. So it might be the cord. I went back to the original cord too. So that's something else is messed up. Anyway, no, it's just like I don't know. I don't know what I mean, call for a mistrial. It's say like there's nothing here. There's no evidence. There's no reason why we should be here. But it's still.
Well, I mean, the defense will obviously move for a directed verdict. The judge will never grant it because even if there's a scintilla of evidence that she could have done it, it'll go to the jury, right? So she's never going to agree with a directed verdict. It's just not going to happen.
But I guess I don't know. It's just my problem that I'm hung up on is like, if it was an accident, it's an accident. And I know that doesn't excuse the action, but it seems like it's just a I don't know. I mean,
and this is probably not fair to the prosecution, but I watched the whole Murdaugh trial, right?
Mhm.
So I saw when they brought in the experts to say that Murdaugh's car was going 15 feet at 30 miles per hour, took a left at this turn, and they had him mapped out to like they were able to show exactly what he did when he did it in the car, right? They had all of the evidence, all of this digital forensics from the car. They had the black box, they had the navigation system, they had the infotainment system. They could show that he was texting this at this time when he's pulling into the driveway. I know that that's possible.
Yeah.
This lady has a 2021 Lexus. From what I understand, the pretty high-end model.
Yeah.
The troopers who have dug into this didn't pull the black box, couldn't get the information from the navigation system, didn't know how to pull the any of this information out of this car. There's speculation that this car has the ability to stop if you're reversing and it sees something, that it's going to stop on its own. And I'm waiting for the defense to put up an expert to say that to me. But every time you're like, well, I'm waiting for this digital forensics. I'm waiting for her phone to tell me where she was at this time. They have none of that. They literally have said that they couldn't do it. They don't have the right software program to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm hearing from the back end that the feds might have all of this information, especially if they're bringing in 2 accident reconstructionists, the defenses, from the federal investigation. That's who we're voir diring, is 2 accident reconstructionists from a federal investigation.
Real quick,
So-
ladies and gentlemen, Broken Baker, he's been covering this since before it was even. I mean, he goes back to the Turtle Boy and early days.
Yeah, I have not followed any of Turtle Boy stuff. I don't want to get involved in that drama.
Baker knows so much stuff that I don't even realize. But anyway, Baker, it's nice for you to be here, man. Baker, it's funny. This all got started with a joke, and because I don't know anything that's going on with this, I really don't. And Caitlin was like so excited about it, and so we just started hanging out. And it's just a cool stream between her and me. I hope everybody else enjoys it. But I'll tell you what, Broken Baker and Valhalla, they're over there streaming away this thing. My wife, I wake up to hearing Baker's voice every morning, and it's I thought I'd be done with that a month ago.
That's gotta be soothing.
Yeah, it's something. It's better than waking up and to seeing him with a donut in his hand or a moon pie. Or
I want chocolate milk now.
He liked the moon pie chocolate milk. He also he's a big chicken fan. We went to Chick-fil-A.
Oh, did he like it?
He likes the chicken. Yeah. I
Oh.
don't know if they have chickens in Denmark. I think they have chicken meat, but I don't think they have like the little cocks walking around. They don't have these things, Do you, Baker? Cock-a-doodle-doo. Who do you do? Cock-a-doodle-doo. This is all left over from Dollywooding. It's all left over from Dollywooding. Anyway.
Baker, you have never, not once, ever sent me a link for anything. So.
Oh, Baker, that's horrible. What happens? Is this what it is? Every stream with Caitlin is cool. She don't want to stream with me. She is too cool. Ooh, maybe there's some beef here. Maybe we can get some drama. Maybe we can get
Send
some.
me a link tomorrow morning. I'll join you for the voir dires.
There you go.
I wake up in time.
There you go. You get some. If she doesn't, she might just ghost grandma you. So we don't want any of that happening. So you've got how long do you think the defense will take?
They have said they will not take more than 4 days, which they probably won't. But Lally, the ADA, talks at the speed of a snail and asks redundant questions about 42. He has a problem not listening to the answers he's given.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll ask much of the same variation of question, and 2 different people. Like, we know from all 10 witnesses that were at the waterfall that night that they were all standing at a high top and there was a band and it was snowing. He asked every single one of them, where were you sitting? At a high top. Was there a band? Yes. Was it snowing? Yes. What did you eat? Potato skins. All of the witnesses have had to answer what kind of freaking table they sat at, because that's what's pertinent in this case.
Well, it shows that they were all together. I mean, shows that their stories.
There's video. Nobody's contesting a high top table. There's video from the bar. But we spent weeks talking to people who were at the bar, getting their testimony about what kind of table they were at. Weeks. So I think the defense
I
could
like high
get it
top
done in
tables at
4
bars.
days. Huh?
I like the high top tables, personally.
I don't. I feel like I'm going to fall out of the stool and hit my head.
Do you not stand up? You're there?
I can't. If it's a high top, it usually reaches about here, and it's just not comfortable. I have to sit in one of the chairs.
So precious. You're so precious. We all love you. We all love Caitlin. Guys, you should have seen her in real life. It was so great. It was so great. So hopefully I don't know. That just to think that there's only 4 days is what the defense is saying. For some reason, that just kind of makes my stomach kind of turn a little bit. I worry. I don't know what to think about this.
I think if they are confident that they can put up a clear and concise enough of a case to present enough reasonable doubt to not convict her in 4 days, I mean, it's pretty confident. It really is. That's saying a lot of things.
In my experience, I tend to believe that if people are talking too much and going on and on and on and on with the same thing and trying to prove same point over and over and over again, that usually means that they're not telling the truth, or they're not sure in themselves. So the defense, I mean, if they're sure in themselves, it's it's like I don't know.
And I think one of the main strategies of them trying to condense it into 4 or 5 days is because the jury has to be dying from sitting there for 7 to 8 weeks listening to all of this from the prosecution. And they're just beating the dead horse of non-relevant things over and over and over. I mean, if you were sitting there in that jury, wouldn't your eyes be glazed over by week 3? I wouldn't be listening anymore. I'd be like, I'm so done with this. Get me the hell home. So I think a lot of it's going to be like, hey, jury, watch what we can do. Boom, boom, boom. All right, now you can have the case. Tell me what you think.
What do you think I mean, I don't know. It's improper to ask what do you think the turnout will be. I don't know. I don't know. I know I have a question, but I don't know what I want to ask. Does that make
I don't know if
sense?
she's guilty. I don't know if she's innocent. What I do know is that with the information I have now, I would not be able to convict her of intentional homicide.
That's what I wanted to ask. I wanted to get to that
think
answer.
I have enough information to convict her of OUI, which is operating while intoxicated. There's supposedly receipts that show how many drinks were ordered. They had the bartender from the Waterfall Restaurant and Bar, the second place they went, they had that bartender on stand and did not ask her, how many drinks did you serve Karen Reed? But all of the people who were there that night have testified that they've had many drinks, that they had a bunch of beer, a bunch of alcohol, drove to the Alberts' home. Trooper Proctor got drunk with Kevin Albert in Cape Cod, and Kevin Albert left his service weapon and his badge in the police cruiser. So all of these people are drinking and driving all of the damn time, but we have no evidence that Karen Reed did, except for the person who says, well, she told me she couldn't remember, and she told me that she didn't know that she did this, and she said that she was drunk. And we have the blood that was taken because she was section 12 the next morning, which means she was taken to the hospital in an ambulance after they found John O'Keefe. They drew her blood and then
why'd they take her to the hospital?
Apparently her dad told the police officers that he was worried that she was going to do something stupid to herself. And so they called her back to the scene so that they could take her to the hospital under a section 12, like, the naughty word for YouTube watch. And at that point, they drew her blood. And supposedly, she was at like a 0.3 something, which sounds pretty insane if you ask me. The range was like between 0.2 and 0.3, but everybody testified, and the video shows she was not stumbling. She was not.
What they have her?
falling
They have
over
her blood
herself.
alcohol. You said that's what you're saying
From the
It's
hospital, and then they have a person at crime scene who converted the results to what the time would have been at about 12:30.
and that's what you said a 0.3. Is this what you're saying? I didn't hear you right. It's what I'm thinking.
Supposedly her blood alcohol at about 12:30 was somewhere between 0.2 something and 0.3 something.
Like that's
which to
blackout
me-
drunk.
Right. Which, I mean, correlates to her telling them in the morning, supposedly, that she didn't remember bringing John O'Keefe to the Albert's house. But nobody at the bar said she was inebriated. The bartender did not say that she was stumbling or not speaking well or doing this or doing that. Okay, personal story. I have a person in my family, outside of this household, that once was taken to the hospital because of alcohol induced problems, and he had registered a 0.2 something. He's a very heavy alcoholic, and the doctor said if you had gotten any more drunk, you would have died. This lady is like 90 pounds soaking freaking wet. I don't believe she could have been between 0.2 and 0.3 and standing up. I don't think she could have driven in snowy conditions and made it to the Albert house if she was that drunk. They would have crashed somewhere, right? Like that's just what I'm thinking. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know that any of the math is mathing with this.
Well, I don't know. This gets me because this is the first time I've heard all this stuff now about her going in and getting a test and everything. That seems, I don't know. I don't know where my brain goes with that.
And I hope if there's
that's
anybody
a
in
lot
the
of
chat
booze.
that can verify what I was.
Did she drink after finding him? That'd be my question.
Well, this is the math that they did to work backwards. So she was supposedly at like a 0.08 that morning.
Yeah,
but
if she shows up, if she downs a fifth, in the 30 minutes before she gets tested, 12 hours later, I mean, math doesn't matter. It matters when her last drink was. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to read. Yeah,
Wait, hold on. We got a
math don't work in Canton.
She tested a 0.093.
I think that morning. But at the hospital, they don't do a blood alcohol test. They do the serum test. And then the crime scene people had to math to do the blood alcohol and then had to math to go backwards like 12 hours in time.
All right, Keith Gregory here. Hey, Keith, how you doing, bud? I haven't seen you in a while. Camera just burped again. Her maximum level is 0.292. I mean, there's no way. That's, like I said, that's blackout drunk.
No. And like, if you look at a picture of her, she is not a big girl. She's a tiny little person. And that, I think, she wouldn't be able to stand at a 0.292.
Baker said there's the tests were so bad there's 132% difference between the lowest and highest numbers.
Right.
But okay, so here's one thing I want to say, and this is to everybody here. So it's like Eileen there says she didn't test that level. That's what their backwards extrapolation was. But I mean, this is just cops don't make this many mistakes. I mean, it's just there's something right now that I feel weird about. I don't know what it is. That's my thing.
And it
Now this is me talking to you as a friend. Okay, this is just my own opinion. I've got and this is kind of what's cool about tonight. This is what I wanted to have. I just want to have I thought hey, a one-on-one. If you say, guys, listen, if Caitlin says she knows something, she knows it. Okay, so I learned that do not mess with her when it comes to NFL football picks. See what I say. Anyway, it's so I don't know anything coming into this, and so now I'm hearing all this stuff, and you haven't been trying to persuade me. You've just been telling me the facts that I've been you have been answering the questions I've been asking. But I'm sitting here going, this doesn't pass my own smell test. There's no way cops, okay, even if they were just corrupt, because this is a lot of corruption. We're talking about like we gotta have a big spoonful of sugar to solve this one with. It's so much corruption we're talking about here. If this is true, there's so many different things that are happening, and it's too well oiled of a machine. It doesn't it doesn't I don't know. It's hard for me to accept, but at the same
so
time, I accept everything you're saying, and I feel I feel in agreement with you, but the logic is saying there's no way. This don't believe that. It can't happen.
So one of the I believe this is the trooper who testified on Friday and then again today. Was basically told, and this is the accident reconstructionist for the police department, was told at the beginning, this was a pedestrian versus vehicle accident. She was driving backwards. And then he started doing his thing. And so the defense rightly asks him, do you know what confirmation bias is? If you ask me, I think they made up their minds about what happened in the beginning and then kind of pigeonholed everything to try to fit their story. That's like, I don't know that there's this big conspiracy. And again, I don't know if she hit him. She could have. It maybe she hit him and he fell backwards and hit his head into the fire hydrant and he passed out and she didn't know it, or she did and she went home and she was like, maybe. But there's no evidence to prove that to me. And if they had just done the damn investigation the right way, we might have evidence of something. But it just feels like they had their conclusion here and they're like, okay, you figure out how to make it say this. You figure out how to make it say this. The prosecution has put on 3 expert witnesses to debate that Jen McCabe didn't make a search at 227. I thought this was the trial of Karen Reed. When your prosecution is putting on 3 expert witnesses and spending money for expert witnesses outside of their police officers to discount this search that she may or may not have made at 227, that tells me you're not confident in what you've put on. That you are so unconfident about the actual evidence that you have to make sure we don't think that this search is right. Just do your jobs, and we don't have any of these questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Caitlin comments. It's true. It's true. Just do your job. Wow.
Oh, look at Eileen's comment, her last one.
Even the Celebrate guy said he was asked to provide an alternate explanation to Jen's searches, not to tell them what's happened. So what does this mean?
So one of the experts that was put on the stand to say that Jen McCabe did not make a search at 227 was told to only look at this one piece of information and give me ways that I can prove that this didn't happen at this time. Not how did this search happen? When did this search happen? How did it get deleted? Tell me how I can prove it didn't
Jen
happen at
searches.
227.
Jen's. Okay, sorry. You know what?
Yeah,
I was thinking
not
of
Karen's.
Karen.
Not Karen's, Jen.
Gotcha. See, that's the hard part here. I fully expect Baker to be handing out post-it notes tomorrow to everybody on whose name's what, so you can keep up.
I mean, if
No.
we had to have a test at the end of this, I would fail. And I feel like I know a lot about this case, but there's so much.
Oh, yes, you do. I've not seen anybody give this type of information, and I really want to thank you for sharing this with me.
I have wasted a lot of time listening to this bullshit.
Do you feel like it's a waste?
We're 26 days in to a trial, and that's just court days, and I don't know what happened. We're about done with the prosecution's case, and I don't know how John O'Keefe died. Yeah, it feels like a waste. This feels like a waste of taxpayer money. This feels like a waste of the ADA's time. This feels like a waste of all of these police officers' time who should be doing better jobs at what they do, and instead are making gross, demeaning comments about people that they're supposed to be investigating unbiasedly. It feels like everybody's waste of time. But I can't stop now because I've invested too much. That's how I feel. I don't want to listen to anymore, but I can't help it because I've already put so much into this, and there's so much of my brain that's been used listening to all this crap that I'm like, well, if I don't finish it out, I'm just going to feel like a loser. The smartest decision you made this year was not getting invested in this stupid case.
I mean, when it first started hitting, I heard about it, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh yeah, I know it's gonna happen here. And it was it takes a long time. You like you said, invested. I don't know how Broken Baker does it. I don't know how Hall does it. I don't know how anybody who's watching this does it. I know, for instance, like my wife, like she gets mad when she's like, I had to work and turn it off the stream. And so I didn't get to hear this part today. But I'll hear that tonight. It's like right now, you know, she's not in the chat. I bet she's in there listening, catching up. It's like a soap opera. This has become a soap opera.
It's wild. I'm exhausted, and I'm spending most of my time listening to this case while I'm doing dishes or grocery shopping or laundry or cleaning my house or getting the nursery ready or laying in my bed. How Broken Baker and Valhalla and Emily D. Baker and Andrea Burkhart, how any of these people, how the jury, I feel so bad for this damn jury and the court reporter, the poor court reporter who's sitting there with the stenography mask on, and she has to put tags on all the evidence, and she has to do this, she has to do that. This poor court, I feel so bad for these people that have to be in this room. I want to give them all hugs and bake them cakes because none of them should have to be sitting there doing this. I don't know how this got to trial. And honestly, the ADA, he doesn't sound confident at all in anything he's saying. His opening statement was his questions are all, what if any other people, what if he has 14 questions before he spits out the damn question he wants to ask. He literally puts me to sleep. Expert, this man, I have not been sleeping good at all. I can't fall asleep. I turn on direct examination of one of these witnesses, out cold.
That's awesome.
Out like a light.
That's awesome. No, it's so wild that this stuff is.
Like, I keep joking to my husband, I picked the wrong time to get pregnant. If I could redo this, I would wait until after this trial because all I want to do is be hammered through all of this. Like, I want to be day drinking margaritas to get through this, and I can't.
Did you say murderitas?
I said margaritas.
Oh, I think you said murderitas. That's what they
Branding,
do
we're
on true
making
crime.
margaritas.
True crimes, murderitas. Bad Duck says it's been a very good, unbiased outline. Way to go.
Thank you.
Yes,
I am renaming my
really
channel to Margaritas.
Murderitas.
And we're going
That'd be
through.
awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Caitlin's channel is pinned at the top, guys. Go give her a follow. She deserves it.
Stuff.
I know. I like putting pressure on you. Yeah, well, you're great. I see great things in you. Yeah, I want to see you succeed. This is just, I don't know. It's wild. Let me ask you the one last question. I have opinion here. The DA, you said it's very boring, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think he has a strategy with the jury?
No. If
You
he had
don't.
a strategy with the jury, it would not have been waste 8 weeks of their time. It would not be asking boring fucking questions over and over again about high top tables. They spent, and I'm not kidding you, expert, they spent 3 weeks asking the people who were at the waterfall what kind of table they were at. It's all on video. Why is this contested? Why do you keep asking this question? Move it along, dude. Because if I were in the jury, I would hate this man so much right now that I would not convict, probably based on how much I hate. Like, despite the fact that there's no evidence, I hate this guy. And I don't think it was his choice to try this case because his boss, Morrissey, could have tried it. He could have brought it. This is the biggest case that Massachusetts is seeing in a long time, and he passed on it. He didn't want to try it. He gave it to his underling. So I think Lally is like, I am, and I have to do this, and I hate my life. And they almost didn't call the lead investigator because of how shady all of his shit is. Could you imagine running a trial and not calling your lead investigator? Could you? No. That's bananas. Lally has no strategy.
What's this conversation says here? Don't forget about the juror from Friday. Do you know what they're talking about?
So in court, nothing has come out about what may or may not have happened.
Okay.
On Twitter, what I have seen, there might be speculation that the juror went to the waterfall and was asking people questions.
That gets you put in jail real quick.
I don't think that person's in jail. They were just excused from the jury.
Yeah, there was a that happened. I actually knew about where that happened. Something very similar. The judge was like, don't go out, don't do any of your own investigation, anything else. It was a DUI where somebody was hit and killed, and they one of the jurors just decides that I'm going to drive home that way. And they came back the next day and started telling the rest of the jurors, "Oh man, I'm going that way, man. You know what? This ain't how this happened. Let me tell you how this happened." And didn't end up too good for that juror. Like the judge was like, "I should make you pay for this trial because we're gonna have to redo it. We're gonna have to redo.
God.
All the jurors have been tainted now." Yeah, it was really bad. The guy, I think he regretted that. So, and hang on a second. Liz Barnes, hey expert, make a short video of your outro, please. I don't know how to. I don't think it's up. I've got a string guards on. I don't even know where it is. If I remember and I have time, I'll do it though. Oh, the juror might have also said something negative about Karen Smiley. Yeah, my wife said something about that tonight. I was like, yeah, that's speculation though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tomorrow, I'm going to start putting up that. I don't know. Like Karen did it all for PlayStation 5. So I'm going to say. And she was Junkie was supposed to give her some love, and he didn't show up. He ghosted her. So she didn't get
You're
her
terrible.
PlayStation 5 comeuppance. Oh my gosh. Is there anything else we haven't hit? Something you want to? What would you say? Okay, me being the dummy. Thank you very much. First of all, I feel more educated than I have. You said you don't think you could pass the test at the end of this. What you have done for me is exactly how I passed a lot of tests in my life. I found a really cute girl that knew the answers. I'm like, hey, I'm a dummy. Could you help me out? They're like, sure. I don't know why. You guys have always been nice.
I feel like at least me coming on here and talking about it for 2 hours has put the time I've wasted into this to good use for a little bit. Like, I've done something with all of this wasted time now.
Oh, I just froze up again. Oh, there I am. Well, let me say something real quick about that. Hey Danielle, how you doing? Oh, look at you, beautiful new little avatar. Look at that. Real quick. So Caitlin, when I met her, she wanted to do a channel where she did like interviews and stuff like that. Kind of investigative, maybe type thing. I don't know. The sky really has always been your limit, and it's you can say you wasted time or whatnot, but I'll tell you this: that you did tonight. You're everything that I thought you were, and more than that, you're everything that you know you are. And this is it, it's a lot of work. I understand that, but your channel, it's stuff like if you want to do it, and you have a lot of stuff on your plate right now, but you're always you got a good thing going. You got a great thing. You have a great mind, and we're all lucky to have you. And I'm very blessed that you would share this time with me and for our wonderful audience here. Guys, I absolutely love this girl. She's absolutely great. So, yeah, is there anything else though? I mean, I don't know. No.
I don't know. Like
Well,
the big part of the conspiracy that I didn't tell you about, I kind of told you about, was the 2:27 a.m. search that Jen McCabe may or may not have done. She Googled on her phone HOS to dying cold. If she
okay.
Googled that at 2:27 a.m.,
Complete
she
0.3 drunk.
no, this is Jen, not Karen.
Oh, I'm sorry. That yes, I've heard about this. I'm like, I thought it was Karen. Okay.
If Jen McCabe Googled this at 2:27 a.m., Karen Reed is innocent. There are 3 experts now that have come up with different ways that she did not Google that at 2:27 a.m. If you are arguing with Celebrite data about when a search was made, you better go back into every single one of your cases that you tried in the past 3 years that use Celebrite data to convict somebody off of a fucking Google search. Because if that's the case, you have put a bunch of people in jail for the wrong reasons. If she didn't make this search, and it was at 6 whatever in the morning after they found John O'Keefe, fine. Maybe Karen, but it still doesn't prove to me Karen did it. You know what I mean? Like, if Jen McCabe made the search at 2:27, she's complicit. If she made the search at 6:30, it doesn't tell me Karen killed him. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I just don't have that
I didn't.
information.
Yeah, I mean, I just know vaguely anything about that. Golly.
It's wild. There in Canton, there is this big triangle where math doesn't math, where everybody can butt tile all night long, but leave
They
no
have pointy butts in
voicemails.
Canton, I guess.
I mean, it really says a lot about how bad your face is if your butt can unlock your phone in the middle of the night. You're welcome. We should end on that
note. Everybody go check out Caitlin Comments, subscribe to her. Make sure you're subscribed here. Make sure YouTube hasn't kicked you off. Guys, Broken Baker, he'll be streaming this tomorrow. And everybody else, I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Tomorrow night, Taco Tuesday. So, if you like trivia and you like fun, we'll do that. And then already planning something. It's gonna be an interesting Friday this week. So you guys be sure to check out Friday Night Live. And I love you guys. Thank you so much, Caitlin. You are the absolute best. Love you all.
Well,
Peace.
I woke up to go get me a cold pop. And then I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life. And then the smoke got her. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Well, I woke up to go get me a cold pop. Then I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Jesus, 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 it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got